Yo, yo, yo! What is going on, everybody? And welcome to Vancity Beats, Eats,
and
more! Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Jamal. We are here at Enterprising Women Making Art, also known as EWMA, which is an initiative of the Atira Women's Resource Society here in Vancity. We are at the EWMA retail space, which is on East Hastings Street here on the stolen and unceded lands, traditional lands of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. We are joined today by Farley. Thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for coming and wanting to be in our very pleasant space.
Yeah, this was, Cassie and I were just actually walking around the neighborhood about a month or so ago, and we walked by, and I thought to myself, oh, this would be awesome to see if they would be down for an interview. So we filled out the contact us form, and I'm so happy that you got back to us and that we're
so
here
exciting.
today doing this, because there's such important work that is showcased by this initiative. So I'm really excited to get into it. We're going to talk about details of the EWMA program, and we're also just in the actual retail space where we're surrounded by art, all of the work that is created by participants and women who are in the Enterprising Women Making Art program. So thank you for tuning in. We're live streaming. This show is all about showcasing and highlighting local humans or initiatives that are investing energy into the creative community. So today, I'm so stoked that we're here at EWMA showcasing this vital part of the community, and also showcasing another aspect of the life in Vancouver, which is the downtown Eastside and the entire community that lives and participates there. So we're going to be getting into that. Farley, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I was feeling anxious, but now that we're live, I'm fine. I'm great. I'm having a good day.
Yeah, we're doing great. You know, Cassie and I are
kind
chill.
of trying to peek out. I'm kind of hoping we get another day like yesterday where the sun comes out, but if it doesn't, that's fine.
Yeah,
we bring the sunshine.
Oh,
Jamal brings the sunshine.
We all bring the sunshine. Yeah, I mean, if it comes out at all, like at the end of the day, even like it did yesterday, even like
it's
30
just like
seconds.
Such a nice spring moment, you know?
Yeah, we need those moments for our mood. So can you tell us a little bit about Atira Women's Resource Society?
Yeah, Atira Women's Resource Society is a quite large organization that's dedicated towards supporting women, children, and trans individuals escaping violence and other situations, trauma, what have you, homelessness. We work with it all. We also offer like a range of services. So we do housing support, we do mental health, we do child care, and obviously we have our social enterprises, and that's kind of like a bit of what we do. We're very much, our goal, Atira's goal or mission is to basically stop inequality in its tracks and, have wraparound supports for individuals.
And it's specifically for women who have faced circumstances of violence.
Gender-based violence. Yeah, so we work a lot with women, children, and trans individuals who are escaping gender-based violence.
Okay.
Yes.
And then EWMA, is EWMA one of the social enterprises?
EWMA is one of the social enterprises. There's also East Van Roasters. So those are the other social enterprises that are under, and actually we were originally under the Atira Women's Resource Society umbrella, but now we are under the Atira Women's Art Society.
Okay, nice.
So we're Atira Women's Resource Society is still the mother organization, and we're just kind of like a little all branched off now.
Yeah.
All of the social enterprises are kind of been conglomerated together in under another title.
But then each one of them kind of has their own sphere.
Yeah,
that they
so
handle.
there's the Atira property management, which deals with more of the like housing or more permanent housing, and then there is the SROs and the hotels and the regular mixed unit tenancy buildings. And then there's Atira Women's Resource Society, which is more like the drop-in spaces. We have our safe injection sites or our safe consumption sites. And then we have the social enterprises.
And so for UMA, where we are right now, Enterprising Women Making Art, how did that initiative begin? Do you know?
Honestly, I don't know how it began.
Yeah.
I think it was the brainchild of Janice Abbott. We did start in 2003. So I believe we had our 20-year anniversary last year.
Ooh, that's huge.
Yeah, so it was originally designed to be a social enterprise in the hopes of offering women marketable skills, so jewelry making, knitting, any other kinds of crafting, like sewing, that kind of stuff, so that they could make marketable products, so that they could have a more sustainable income. And that was really a way for Atira to kind of fill that gap where you're meeting women who are facing multiple barriers to traditional employment, and give them the ability to become their own business and make a sustainable income for themselves, or at least create a more sustainable income for them and their families.
Yeah.
So Atira really was like, what are the needs of the community? And then the UMA was the product of trying to fill those needs. Yeah.
And that's, I mean, it's so thoughtful, because it's also like these people they come with like their life experience and all these skills already.
Honestly, I kind of just love it, because it reminds me of like the old days where women used to get together and like share women's wisdom, and like at a base level on the studio side, that's what we are. It's women coming into the space and being like, I know how to sew, and then being like offering that skill to other women. So it's at a base level, we're really a skill sharing facility. So most of our workshop facilitators are volunteer based. Like we unfortunately are not at a place where we are able to compensate our instructors. I mean, that would be the dream. But I love that, because we have women come into the space there. It's a drop-in space, so they just drop in, and once they start getting comfortable, usually they'll come and approach me and be like, I'm really good at drawing, or I'm really good at painting, and I'd really like to teach that. And it's a really wonderful way for us to not only support that women in their craft, but also help build their confidence in offering that skill to others. And like a lot of the times they'll go on to teach at other organizations or even other programs in Atira. And I don't know, I think that's a big win for the women, because it really builds confidence and it creates stability.
Yeah. It's incredible, like that empowerment but that it's like it was always there. Yeah. And then we
just kind of get to like foster it a little bit. Yeah.
It's amazing. And so we're in the UMA store, but right next door is the studio space that you were talking about, right?
That's correct.
Nice. And so you mentioned it's drop-in.
Yeah. So our studio space is just a straight drop-in space. We do request that you sign in. That's more so that we can keep a track of numbers. So when we're applying for grants, we've got some stats for the applications. And then you can access any of the art supplies for free. The space is for free. There's no membership. There's no fees. We are graciously run off of a lot of donations from the community. So we love when other artists support our artists by dropping off like used art supplies and stuff like that. It's a very symbiotic relationship. I mean, not only within the Strathcona community, but like also for the women in the store. We're just always all working together to kind of pool resources and make things happen. But there's sign-ins. We run maybe like 15 workshops a month.
Wow.
When we're like full tilt, I've run like 22 to 25 workshops in a month. Just depends on how many volunteers we have coming in and the like level of materials we have to run the specific workshops they're looking to offer.
And what kind of workshops are offered? Because looking around the store right now, there are so many different types of handmade crafts.
So right now, like this month, like next month, we offer knitting. We have jewelry making, like beading right now. We have expressive art therapy. We have, what else do we have? We have hat painting.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have a version of hat painting in the store presently, but this is one of the creations that one of the artists came up with. So she made, these are paper flowers that she made to decorate the hat.
Cool.
So we have other artists that are beading the hats, and we have other artists that are painting the hats. And so we are supplying the women with the hats, and then they get to do whatever they want, and then they can sell it through the store, or they can wear it, or they can gift it.
Yeah.
It's all up to them. It's just supposed to be fun and also to create a product that they could potentially make income off of.
It's incredible. I mean, there's also like, there's earrings, there's pottery.
Yeah, like Domi is the artist who's teaching. So this is a pair of her earrings. Like, so she'll teach you how to make that. Like all of these actually are Domi. I like these crescent moon ones.
Yes.
They're great. Very sparkly. We love a sparkly moment.
Yes. That light, shine that light.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, sometimes people come into the store and they get overwhelmed, but like if you can like zoom in on little areas and kind of go from little area to little area, like it's nice. But we have about 50 artists represented in the store space presently.
Wow.
So it's a myriad, it's a plethora of different artwork and different crafting and different skills. And it's great. Like we offer the women not only that creative outlet, but it's also fantastic harm reduction. And I think it's some like art as a form of harm reduction is something that's like greatly overlooked. But it is like art therapy is amazing, and when you watch women like come into a class, they're having a bad day, they sit down, they make some art, and they leave like brighter, like their energy is brighter, they're not feeling so heavy, the emotions have lightened, or they've made connections with other women in the workshop or in the space even. It's a great community environment where women can even just come in to network with other artists, resource share, look at other art, get inspired. Yes. It's community building.
Yeah, and even like, as you mentioned, kind of like that change of environment, like taking them from one energy to another. It can be a very transformative space for sure. And that's extremely powerful too, for just like that all being able to happen within like a day or hours.
A couple hours. Yeah. Our workshops are usually only about 2 hours in length. Some of them are a little bit longer. Like Rosina loves to run longer workshops, but right now she's doing art journaling with tarot. So she'll make her guests to the class pull a tarot card or an oracle card or some kind of inspirational card of some sort. Sometimes she makes them.
Yeah.
She does a workshop where she teaches you how to make your own tarot, which is also really cool. But so you'll pull that, and then you make artwork based off of whatever card you pull, and it's like doing deep emotional work without it being deep emotional work. You're having fun and you're like, this is cool, like, and you're feeling inspired by this card. You don't realize that you're actually doing inner work while you're doing the class. So that one's a really fun one to watch people come in and see how they leave after the class. And I always love watching people get like interested in like specific instructors. Like you'll see them gel with the instructor and then they're like, I'm coming in every week and for their workshop, which is lovely.
It's incredible. I'm just like I'm just like, it's also filling me up with so much joy, just like hearing all of these stories and you sharing about everything that happens here at EWMA.
Yeah.
How did you get involved?
Oh my goodness.
Yourself. Yeah.
I actually went to a couple I was actually at VATI, the Vancouver Art Institute.
Okay.
Vancouver Art Therapy Institute.
Okay.
Sorry, VATI. I got that acronym wrong. I missed a word. But I was interested in becoming an art therapist. And I was talking to them, and they were talking about Atira and EWMA, and I was like, okay, I'm going to have to remember those, and I'll Google them when I get home. And I went home and I tried to Google them. Let me just tell you, I trying to phonically spell Atira or EWMA. Nothing was coming up. Google was coming up with 0, nothing. So I obviously was way off on the spelling. But it was, I was like, okay, I kept it. It obviously stuck in the back of my head, and I was working, I was actually working up the street from here. And I kept walking by the studio, kind of how you guys discovered it. And I was like, wow, those windows are amazing. Because I worked in this really dark, no window office, where you kind of are like, moo. So sad that you're in a dark office.
Yeah.
It's like summertime, the birds are chirping, and you're going into a cold, dark space. You're like, this is awful. And then I would walk by and I'm like, man, I wish I worked at a place like that. And then I happened to be catching the bus across the street one day, and I actually read the sign. And I was like, EWMA. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that's the space. And so I happened to drop in one day, and the program manager at the time was not present. So one of the peers actually was like, we were shooting
the talk.
We were talking about the program, and I asked about if they were looking for volunteers, and she said, yeah, but you'll have to speak to Tracy. So another week or so went by, and I happened to catch the space while it was open, and I spoke to Tracy, and I became a volunteer. And then I was a volunteer for a few months. Yeah. And then I became the coordinator.
Nice.
Because she got another job. She got another job offer, and because I had become a volunteer and I told her this is my dream job. I want to become an art therapist. This is my background. She let me know. She's like, hey, just a heads up, they're going to be posting my position soon. You should apply. And I was like, I am going to do that. And I got the job. So I've been here for the last 5 years.
Wow.
They can't seem to get rid of me.
And how's that, you wanting to do art therapy and being immersed in this space? How's that affected you? How do you feel witnessing all of this as your work?
It's inspiring, right? I know when I come into work, I'm offering a vital service to the community. And I get to support women not only discover their creativity, but I get to support other artists that maybe don't think of themselves as artists, come into that confidence where they're like, yeah, I'm an artist, and I'm a creative, and just a really wonderful gift. Like, I actually am an artist myself. I get to serve women just like me who have experienced violence, who are struggling to make ends meet, who are just down on their luck, like whatever it might be. I get to kind of be like, you know what, you can do it. And I mean, that's my why, right? So that's what keeps me coming back.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. And the fact that you are also like, you know, you can relate as well to the people who come in, and that you yourself are interested in, you're an artist, but you also are interested in art therapy. Like, it really seems like a holistic.
It's kind of, again, it comes back to that whole symbiotic. It's like serving like. Yeah. We're into that, you know? What is it called? Synergy?
And like about just maybe if you don't mind, for people maybe who aren't familiar with like Vancouver or the downtown Eastside, could you maybe tell our viewers what kind of, like, could you describe the downtown Eastside for people who might not know?
That's a tricky one, without like painting things in a negative light. But I mean, the downtown Eastside is, honestly, it's a tight-knit community. And a lot of people who are struggling with addiction are present. And a lot of the reason why they're present is because a lot of the programs that offer supports for people struggling with addiction are in a condensed area in Vancouver, which is something that is quite uncommon. Like, it's talked about across Canada, because it's just like, it's quite uncommon for all of the resources to be pooled so closely together. But so that's a lot of the reason why a lot of people congregate in this area, as well as its easy access to transit and this, that, and the other thing. So, I mean, does that answer the question?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that answers the question in a way that a lot of, I mean, people maybe not think of it in that perspective. So I appreciate you sharing it from that point of view.
I mean, it is a community, though. Like, you watch them look out for one another and, you know, treat each other with respect as much as possible. That's not always the case, but, you know, the best thing that you can do is remember that the people who struggle with addiction are people. Like, they're somebody's brother, mother, sister, father, child. Like, they're human, and they deserve respect.
And I think based on what you've shared so far too, like with the support and maybe the space, those feelings, internal feelings, can change or be transformed within people about themselves too.
Well, hopefully. Like, I mean, we've all fallen down, and some of us have a harder time getting back up. That's kind of how I see it.
And this, like, EWMA and Atira is a support in that process.
We're certainly a resource, and like women who drop into our space, we obviously, if we can, we help them get resources with like housing outreach or child minding or whatever, like anything, any kind of resource that Atira offers, we can get them connected. So we're kind of a resource hub for Atira, if we can do that. If not, we can obviously make recommendations outside of Atira if necessary.
I mean, I was reading on the website that you know, one of the goals with EWMA is to promote the capabilities of people in the downtown Eastside community.
Yeah, they are very, I mean, hello.
Yeah, and we're in it.
Hello. It's the women here don't make my job difficult in a lot of ways. Like, their art is valid, it's worthy, they have a perspective, they have a point of view, and those voices are worth hearing and paying attention to. And
that, I feel like that's what you just said is a core element, like psychologically, maybe that the like people don't feel that validity about themselves.
I think in a world that's like super saturated with social media and people telling everybody their opinions, like sometimes it's hard to find one's voice, and I think that that's more so the case with women, just because we live in a patriarchal society. So the fact that you can actually come in to a shop and every single piece is made by a femme-identified individual, and you can support that individual not only in their artistic practice, but like in their life by helping them economically. Like it's a beautiful thing. And you can't walk into any gallery and it's like, this is a female only gallery. Like that doesn't happen anywhere. And I know we're not necessarily gallery level. We are like basically just a shop, like a boutique shop, but we have beautiful artwork here. Beautiful artwork here at reasonable prices. Sometimes far too reasonable, honestly. Like
you got to see it for yourself.
And the goal is always to like try to make like the women's work more elevated and more elevated and more elevated, so people see it in the proper light. Yeah.
And I was watching some videos like on the YouTube or on the website, and it's so amazing to see that some of the women who have participated in the program, one thing that they were mentioning in the video is like how they were thinking ahead. It's like one of them said, "This is my business. I think of this as a business," and now they're thinking like long term about how to grow their business side of it. So as
become more marketable, become more profitable. So we do what we can to encourage the women to not just sell through here, but like create a portfolio to take to other shops and market their stuff through other places. I mean, EWMA does take a small commission from the women, but like obviously if you take it to other shops, like they're either buying stock, like mass stock, or the pricing is different, right? And the percentages and the commissions that they take is different. So we do try to prepare the women who are interested in that for those conversations, because that's obviously it is done here, but it's not the same level as when you go into more professional settings.
But it's what I find really cool about that is that it's not only are people like maybe dropping in for workshops and learning these like crafting or hand making skills. They're learning business skills, and
we try. We do the best that we can to teach that. I think we maybe ran more workshops like that when we were like smaller. Now that we're bigger, it's harder to do that, but we are starting to, under the guidance of Janu, the new director of social enterprise, we are trying to partner with other outside organizations to offer the women more entrepreneurial workshops, which is great. Because otherwise it's kind of like one-on-one work that we do with the women.
And so you mentioned EWMA started in 2003. How has EWMA kind of like grown or evolved since that time? It's been 21 years.
Honestly, I've only been here for 5, so I'm
or
not
what about
quite
in your
sure,
time?
right? Like we had much smaller locations when we first started, where I think they used to have like little cubicles that the women, there were like core artists and then there were guest artists, and then there was like a very small shop where they could kind of like display their artwork. So we've grown massively. We've moved 3 different times, so I think this is the 3rd location. And the studio space is quite large. We have a little kitchenette, and we have like 3 large studio tables, sewing machines, sergers, painting supplies, all of that stuff. So we've definitely grown. I'm not really sure how else to answer
Yeah,
that
no,
question.
Yeah.
The store is the biggest store that we've ever had, to my understanding. Yeah, we're representing way more artists. Like our core group of artists was maybe like 8 or 10, and we're at like 50 now. So
Yes.
like
That's increasing the capacity.
Yeah,
big time.
so we try to carry as much art as we can, like within reason. So we try to take a little bit from each artist and have them represented through the space.
And so the 50 artists that have work here in the store, are they active participants in the program?
Some of them are. We do obviously have some disabled artists, so they are welcome to come in and sell through the store. And like a lot of the women will make work at home. Some of them are regulars where they come in, 2, 3, 4 times a week. Some of them come in regularly just for workshops. Like lots of the women who are regulars are just regulars to the workshops. Like they love coming in for their art therapy, and they do that, or they come in for the beading because they want to learn how to do their own beaded jewelry. Or that, and like, so we have a lot of interest, but not everybody consigns through the store, and that's a-okay. Like you do not need to sign a contract with EWMA to sell through the store. Not by any means. So like we're very much like come in, access the space, access the resources, but like if you want, you can sell through the store.
It's amazing. We're here at the EWMA store in Vancouver, in East Vancouver, and for everybody who's tuning in, we're here speaking with the coordinator of the program, Farley. So there's, do you think maybe we could kind of like check out some
wander
of the
around
things?
the store? Why not?
Okay, cool. So like, and then maybe you could talk a little bit about what, like these are like. Oops. Oh my goodness! I messed it up.
Lucian, I didn't do it.
It was me.
Yeah, so these are just little knit flowers that she created, I think, for Valentine's Day, in case people didn't want to buy flowers that were gonna wilt.
Yeah.
Kind of like a crazy amount of work. I don't know how she made them myself. I kind of wish they were pens though.
I remember when
they
in
used to,
elementary and junior
they did all
high,
the like toppers on the
those.
pens. Yeah. Oh my gosh, where do I even begin? As you can see, we have all of the art. we have beautiful like beaded, quilted, like little crows, like we have paintings, we have ceramics, we have unique one-of-a-kind cards, I mean, at very reasonable prices.
Wow.
We have like show-stopping jewelry, like I mean if that's not a statement earring, I don't know what is. Like to, more subtle things, we have like beautiful subtle pieces, cute little studs, a beautiful, like just really fun stuff. We have unique fashion, like this piece right here happened to walk in Vancouver Fashion Week a couple seasons ago. So, oops, sorry, you're behind me, other direction. We have, unique jean jacket, upcycled, just behind you here, like work. So this is Sandy's work. This dress over here is Zarifa. She also goes by Grace Machine. She does a lot of the beautiful upcycled gem jewelry. Just so many different kinds of art here.
I mean, as you mentioned, you said like when you come in, it might kind of be a lot, but you can kind of zone in
Yeah,
on
you
different
just kind
areas.
of like, if you can get yourself into a little nook and just kind of start exploring, it gets a little less intense. I do generally try to coordinate the store in some kind of semblance of like organization where it's like done by color. Like, so if you know somebody absolutely loves green, there'll be like a green cubby, or they're obsessed with orange, there'll be an orange area. Just because there's so many different kinds of things, I do try to market it in a aesthetically pleasing way that's not too overwhelming.
I mean, Kazi and I, when we came in today to set up, I think we're able to get into that a bit, like checking out all the different areas.
Right. It's hard. You just kind of get swept away a little bit. We have beautiful like rainbow merchandise. I'm a big fan of Diane's like tapestries. Like, I think they're just so beautiful. I mean, I love Rosina's mark making. These. I know, it's just she just comes in and just goes to town. I love getting to watch that process.
Is this one of them as well?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's also great because we have people who become really interested in specific artists' work. Like, I know Eva here is one of our resident potters, and she has quite the following where people will come in from like White Rock and come get her pottery because they found us at like Eastside Culture Crawl, and now they like need to collect them all. And I'm like, all right, like please come back and collect them all.
Collect them all.
So that's always fun to see people kind of get really into an artist and like want to support them. And also it's wonderful because a lot of our artists become peers through the space. So we do offer an employment program where we take what I would consider leaders in the studio next door and offer them positions, and then they get to work in the store and represent the other artists and learn some employable skills. And like, it's always so funny. They're like, I just sold one of my pieces. And I'm like, did you tell them it was you? And they're always like, no. And I was like, oh, so bashful. But that like, you have no idea what it does for an artist when you purchase their work, because you're not just supporting them in that one product, you're supporting them in hours of trial and error and failure and success to get to that one piece of product that ends up in the store. So, it's hours and days and lots of love, sweat and tears and everything in between for those women.
And even everything like leading up to them dropping in and choosing to participate, maybe.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. We welcome women from all walks of life and femme-identified individuals. So yeah, we're a fairly inclusive space. We're not inclusive to the everybody, but it's because we are specifically focused on helping women and femme-identified individuals experiencing gender-based violence. Yeah. That is our main focus. That being said, if you haven't experienced gender-based violence, which is pretty hard in a patriarchal society for women to not know that experience, it's just a welcoming space for you to kind of come in and create. You can socialize. You don't have to socialize. You can just put your earbuds in and draw or journal or paint. We're here for you. We're here for you.
It's very accessible, very like low barrier.
It's very low barrier.
Yes, it's inviting. Like,
we do the best that we can. Yeah. We try to be as inviting as possible. Yeah, like sometimes people don't like crowds, and if there's a big workshop, that might scare them off. But otherwise, I think we're a pretty welcoming space next door. Yeah.
Some of the testimonies I watched in some of the videos too, like the women were so ecstatic about the social aspect of it, or like when they were describing what their favorite parts of EWMA or dropping into the workshops was, like they loved the people who were there, but then also some of them mentioned that like they live on disability or permanent disability, and that like this is also an opportunity for them to kind of make some income to supplement the disability, because there's very specific
requirements they have to fill. They can't make more than a certain amount in a month, and like that's exactly what I mean by like we help them clear barriers to traditional employment. Like that again was the need that Atira saw in the community that they were trying to fill, is because we work with a lot of women who are on disability or are retired, on pension, or having mental health issues, or are, you know, traumatized from the violence they've experienced. So this is just a wonderful resource for you to access if you are experiencing any of that. You're not alone, and you can always drop into this space and access more resources.
It's such a wonderful initiative. And one of the testimonies as well in the video, they talked about how, like, you never really know someone's story, so not to judge, to make judgments. And I think that's something that, I think in my experience, can surround the downtown Eastside community, like this stigma.
There's lots of stigma. I mean, you don't know how somebody ended up in housing in the downtown Eastside. Like maybe they went through a bad divorce and they're just in more accessible housing for where they are. Like honestly, like if you are somebody who is escaping violence and you're like accessing a shelter, like why would you judge them? Like they're already going through it. Like their life is in complete and utter upheaval. They don't have like their own housing anymore, and they need resources, they need support, they need help to get back on their feet, and that's what Atira does. Like that's what we're here for across the board. And like there's other examples of that, but like you can't judge people's journey, you know. We all have our own path to enlightenment or whatever, and like everyone's rock bottom looks different, and like we all have our own lessons to learn, and life is going to take us where we need to go in order to evolve.
Very well put. And I mean, and that when you're in that place, like the support is so crucial.
It is. Like you know, there's so much shame around like what women go through, like rape, violence. Like it's so hard to admit that you need help sometimes. So like when you get to that place where you want to ask for help, like if somebody makes that difficult for you, the chances of that woman actually like escaping that situation become less and less. And like that's why, you know, to heck with stigma. Like, don't stigmatize people. It's not nice.
Learn about their story, or ask, or
it's, you know, it's all about being curious, because you can learn so much from other people's journeys. And if you open yourself up to learning from others, like you'd be surprised at what you hear and the friendships you can build.
What are some of the things that have kind of informed you, or that you've learned from being the coordinator for this program and being surrounded by all these women?
Honestly, I think I've entered a different like layer of my leadership. I've really found and accessed new avenues of my voice, and I've really learned how to set healthier boundaries, not only for myself in my personal life, but also for the women within the space. I'm always trying to take a trauma-informed like perspective to coordinating in the space, where I like consistency really matters to me. I want every woman who comes in to kind of have a similar experience, where my peers know the policies and procedures, and like, so there's some level of consistency between this program and any other Atira program, because women who have been traumatized, that consistency like creates safety. So if you're consistently receiving the same answers to the same questions, and like it's always the same process, yes, every day looks different, but it's like that base level adds a layer of calmness to the space, where even if the woman might be upset about the fact that she has to enter inventory or something, it's the same process every time. And yes, we're here to help, but like there are specific things, and a lot of that is reteaching women to be because they are the experts in their life, right? But also reminding them that they're the leader in their life. And that's the empowerment part. So that's really what we try to do in this space.
That they can lead themselves.
Yeah, that they have that power, and that they can be that leading force in their life that will push it forward, like make progress forward. You might not love doing it in the process in the moment, but like if you consistently keep showing up, you'll get results.
That the consistency, the repetition, but also grounded in the foundation that you described too.
Yeah, I try to keep the space grounded in that.
Yes.
Like consistency, like we're open 10 to 5 every day.
Yeah.
Like you know, like obviously stat holidays get in the way of that, but like it like that's important, like having like snap closures and stuff like that, I think is unhealthy for the community, because they come to rely on the space to either access resources or like the facilities, what have you, that if it suddenly shuts down or what have you, it causes chaos, right? And then they're like, oh, this was my plan for the day, and like it can cause people to spin out, and so it's little things. It's little things, but they make a big impact. Yeah.
And in addition to the fact that EWMA is at 21 years of existing, and in its herstory, as the website says.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's also another collaboration that EWMA does with Vancouver Fashion Week.
Yeah.
And I would love to ask you more, and if you could tell us more about that.
So I actually believe this is our 10-year anniversary with Vancouver Fashion Week. I think we started in like 2012 or 2013.
Yeah.
I think and this particular Vancouver Fashion Week is like really special, just because we actually had one of our participants pass away from breast cancer. So we've partnered with the Canadian Cancer Society, and we are doing a runway dedicated to raising awareness around breast cancer. And we are so lucky because we also have women living with and surviving with cancer walking on our catwalk this season. So we're so grateful that we get to use our platform with Vancouver Fashion Week to draw attention to such a worthy cause, and we will hopefully be doing a fundraiser after with some of the work that the women make going up into the fundraiser, and probably some other art and objects to raise money not only for our program, but also to raise money for cancer. Yeah.
That's amazing. And I read online that it's you're featuring a pink runway too.
Yeah, it's going to be a wholly pink run. I mean, it's so funny because like we're right on the like tail end of Barbie, so there's no better time for it. But like that was not a part of the plan. Yeah. We started talking about it with Barb, because Barb was with us. She just passed away recently in January. But she really was like, I really want to raise awareness, and she kind of really was at the forefront of kind of getting us partnered with the Canadian Cancer Society and kind of having that all come about. And unfortunately, we lost her before she was supposed to walk on the runway for us and make some work with us, but
because she has walked in the past and then started designing as
yes.
well, right?
Yeah, so she, in our fall winter 2022 collection, I believe it was, she the backstage staff kind of approached me and were like, hey, like, do you have any more outfits? Like, we just had a designer go down, like, because it was still high COVID time, and we have 16 models with no outfits to wear. And I was like, I might have like one or two more, like, and so they're like, okay, well, we have a model, she's a bit older, but she's a breast cancer survivor. I'm like, bring her over. I don't even think I let them finish that sentence. I'm like, she's exactly our demographic, bring her over. And that was actually, I think that was, we also had one of our actual we had a volunteer who was a lawyer for us, Erin. She's actually walking for us again this season.
Nice. Yeah.
But we did a call for models, for community models one. I think it wasn't that season, but it was the season after that.
Yeah.
And so Barb started a trend. So Barb walked for us. I really love having diversity on the runway, so I was really excited to have an older model present. I love having, we always request for diverse models, and I know Vancouver Fashion Week really looks for that, but you get a lot of, the proper like size 6 to size 8 models on the runway, and you're not getting a lot of the plus size or, so we went out looking for them after that. But yeah, it was lovely. She walked for us, and then she was so interested. She started coming into the space and asked if she could participate in the following season. And of course, we were like, yes, yeah. And it turns out she's a wonderful sewer. So she started creating work for our runway with us, and she just became a part of the community, and what a blessing she was. She was really just so tenacious, like just a powerhouse of an artist, like very creative, always doing things, very generous with her time and energy. She was a really beautiful woman, and we're very sad to have lost her.
But it will be beautiful to celebrate as well.
It's going to be really wonderful to honor her on the runway and do our best to bring, her vision to life. Within the confines of doing it in an organization. It's not as easy when you start getting into the bureaucracy and stuff like that. But like, hopefully we do her proud. And I mean, we're really lucky. Her family is going to come and like, yeah. Oh, so I don't know, it's almost time. It's this runway, this Vancouver Fashion Week runway is going to be April 24th. We're actually opening the show at 5 p.m. So if you want to come, go online and grab your tickets.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, and line up for 4:30 because that's when doors. The lineup will be long.
Yeah.
And then
Is that the first walking day or
no, we're on the second day.
Okay.
I think Vancouver Fashion Week, the week opens on the 23rd.
Okay.
And so we're on the second day. It's all listed on the website, so if you're confused, just scroll through the designers and you'll see us, Atira on the 24th.
Atira.
Atira. Yeah, they say it's so nice though. They're like, Atira. And you're like, yes! I didn't know we were a French perfume, but I love it.
And then in terms of like featuring a pink runway, does that mean that the outfits are going to be pink or is the actual like catwalk?
No, just
also
all of the outfits will be pink.
Okay,
like,
cool.
It's a lot of pink. I'm really excited to see see it come together. It always comes together in the end.
Yeah.
It can be a little bit scattered along the way, but it's really exciting. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for the women in the community to have their work seen on an international stage. And so we are always so grateful to Vancouver Fashion Week for being our charitable partner and offering us the opportunity to showcase the women's work, because they're talented. They're very talented.
And it's such a cool occasion to work towards as well.
Yeah, this one's like just really, I don't know, this is a big moment, I think. I'm not sure about UMA's history, but I think this is the first time we've really come together as a group to really promote a cause. And I feel so grateful that even Vancouver Fashion Week has really gotten behind it. They're very supportive of this, because we're doing a little bit of a longer runway, because we're featuring more models. And I'm just so grateful that they're willing to be flexible with us, because we started off like with only like 8 models, and I think last season we had like 18 models walk, which is like, what?
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously it's gotten bigger and bigger. I'm really passionate about fashion, so when I found out that when I started, that I was gonna get to like work with the women to like coordinate a cohesive collection for the runway, I was like, yes, my dream come true.
Yeah.
So it can be a lot to coordinate. It's like, what? Because you have so many different visions and so many different artists. You never know who's gonna clash or who's like. So you just have to kind of come together and really work as a team. You know, I know everybody out there is like, oh my God, I hated doing projects at school with other people, but so it's like it can be scary. It can be a bit intimidating, but yeah, it's definitely it's a cooperative experience as much as it can be. Yeah. And
I feel like that is also at the root of everything that happens here too.
Yeah, you know, a lot of it isn't as collaborative and cooperative, because a lot of it's kind of like self-directed work, right? Like we do a lot of open studio time where women can just come in and work on their own projects, work at their own pace, on their own things, and then we have the workshops, which again, yes, you're being led by somebody, but you're kind of get to be in your own bubble. But the fun part about that is you get to like have the conversations with the other women. And like do the like, I'm struggling here, and have that guidance. So I think it's a bit different than being like, okay, so what's the theme for this runway? Like where you're getting together and really planning things with a group of women, and trying to like make everybody as happy as possible.
Yeah.
So it's a smidge different.
Yeah, it's like a teamwork project.
Yes.
Versus, I think the cooperation in the studio is like the social aspect, maybe.
It's more like, we come together with the peers, and we keep the space clean, and like we ask the women to tidy up after themselves, and we're always trying to empower the women to again show up for themselves. And I don't know, I'm all for that. Like, you know, I want to see the women level up in their lives and in their artistic careers, and like build the friendships, start showing at other gallery spaces. Like we always recommend other, like at least I do. There's lots of other art groups in the downtown Eastside. So I'm always like, oh, if you need it, like they're doing a call for artists. Like we try to always promote those sorts of opportunities to the women so that they can have their work seen in other spaces. Yeah,
and that independence as well,
to
build that for themselves, I think, which contributes to that growth.
It's really for me it's really important, because like that's the empowerment part. Like I want women to know they're capable of standing on their own 2 feet, you know, and they are the leader in their life. They are the expert in their life, and they know what's best for them. I want women to know that they can say no, and like that they can say yes, and that, you know, they get to make those decisions.
Yes.
We're just here to facilitate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you said you're very passionate about fashion. Like what's the, and you also mentioned you're an artist. What's your art that you love to do?
I do a lot of leather.
Yeah.
I do leather design work,
Yeah.
and then I do more like I don't know, I do really process-based work. So I really like I do stitch drawings where I'll like, it's kind of like embroidery, but not. Like I'll do like a drawing out of thread.
Yeah.
On a canvas, and
cool.
It's just like it takes hours and hours, and for me that's the part that I like. I'm like I've embossed braille into paper. I do really, I'm more of a conceptual based artist. I've done installation work. But yeah, leather would be the stuff that I do that's like fashion-y, like leather
and
design.
the long process kind of.
Like I do it all by hand. I don't have like a leather sewing machine or like an industrial sewing machine, so I usually hand punch it and hand sew it if I'm sewing. So that can be very time consuming, but like there's no laser cutters. It's all being cut by hand and that kind of stuff. And there's great stuff out there now where you, like, if you have access to that kind of a studio space, like, I mean, I would love that truly, like, to have stamps and punches to have, like, automate things a little bit more. But there's something to be said about something being completely handmade.
In terms of EWMA, what are the things that EWMA is working towards and their goals for the upcoming near future?
Well, honestly, we mostly are planning markets. So we have to we do 2 Vancouver Fashion Week runways a year, because we do the fall, winter, and the spring, summer. So those are usually always on the roster. And then we plan markets for the season, and then we take the women's work to the markets and we market their merchandise at these. Like, Pride is one of my favorite. I love participating in the Pride markets, and getting to showcase the women's work, and that's like a big way that we help them. Like, other than selling their work through the store, we go out and we sell their work at markets and try to produce more income for them.
And spread the awareness.
And we spread awareness about the program to different communities, and people who have never been exposed to the space, or don't, there's lots of people that don't come downtown very often because they like live out and around, but they'll be at a market because they're like, oh, there's going to be all these booths at the market. And like, so that's great because we're sometimes one of those booths, and we get to like talk to people that we don't normally get to talk to.
Amazing. Well, we are coming to the end of the stream today. Everybody who's tuned in live, my name is Jamal. We've been joined by Farley, the coordinator of Enterprising Women Making Art, and we are at their retail space, which is located at 800 East Hastings Street here in Vancity. And as you see, you can come into this space and check out so much amazing work that has been created by participants in the EWMA program. And then the studio space shares a wall with the retail space here. Thank you so much for your time, Farley. Thanks so much for explaining and sharing how this space functions, and the core like beliefs that and philosophies that drive the space, but also like your personal connection to it, and how much energy you've poured of yourself to make this like such a thriving place for people, and for women specifically who have faced gender-based violence. And so thank you so much for your time. I'm very grateful that we were able to do this today here with you.
I appreciate it so much, and I really appreciate you showcasing not just my hard work, but like the women who keep this space running, like the peers, the volunteers, and of course obviously the women who drop in and make all of this possible.
It's extremely important.
We salute you.
And that was part of the reason we wanted to showcase, because it's such important work, and I think we want people to know about it and use our platform to share that. And also, just on the final note, like, it also speaks to the importance and how vital it is to have a physical space too. You know, we talked about community and gathering, and having this studio space for that, to actually build that physical manifestation of the community is crucial. So we salute you. We salute EWMA. Jazzy. This has been a Jazzy production. Thanks so much for tuning in. This has been episode 21 of season 2.
21. This is the 21st year and the 21st episode. What synchronicity! What? It was meant to be.
That's right. This has been Vancity Beats, Eats,
and more.
Peace.